In 1979, on the dying island of Majuli in India, a catastrophe unfolded. A devastating flood scoured the land, only to be followed by a brutal drought that baked the earth until it cracked. The island, a sandbar in the mighty Brahmaputra River, had become a barren wasteland. The searing heat and lack of cover were a death sentence for countless animals. Thousands of snakes washed ashore, only to perish on the scorching, shadeless sand. Amidst this desolation, a 16-year-old boy named Jadav Payeng walked. What he saw was not just an environmental disaster. It was a scene of profound suffering that broke his heart. Standing alone on that vast, empty expanse, surrounded by death, he felt a surge of grief and helplessness. He went to his village elders, asking what could be done. They told him the only solution was to plant trees, specifically bamboo. They gave him a handful of seeds and a simple instruction, perhaps not expecting much to come of it. But for Jadav, it was a calling. He decided that if no one else would act, he would. This was not a grand, organized project. There was no funding, no team of volunteers, no media coverage. There was only Jadav, a handful of seeds, and a conviction that he had to try. He planted his first bamboo sapling in the hard, unforgiving soil. Then another, and another. He fashioned a watering system from an earthen pot with a small hole, allowing water to drip slowly onto his precious saplings throughout the day. It was painstaking, back-breaking work under the relentless Indian sun. One sapling became a dozen became 100. Every single day, without fail, Jadav returned to his lonely stretch of sandbar. He collected seeds, nurtured seedlings, and carried water, bucket by bucket, from the river. He did this alone. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. The seasons changed. Monsoons came and went. The world outside moved on, but on this remote island, Jadav's quiet, solitary mission continued. People in his own village called him mad. They couldn't understand why a young man would waste his life planting trees in a place they considered a lost cause. But Jadav wasn't listening to them. He was listening to the land. He knew a simple bamboo grove wasn't enough to create a true ecosystem. So he began to introduce other types of trees, painstakingly carrying saplings from miles away. He understood that a real forest needed diversity. To enrich the soil, he even carried and released earthworms and ants, the tiny, unsung engineers of the natural world. He was literally building a forest from the ground up, one insect, one seed, one tree at a time. This wasn't just planting. It was an act of creation, a daily ritual of hope performed in utter solitude. He continued this work, every single day, for 40 years. 40 years of getting up before dawn, tending to his growing forest, and returning home after dusk. 40 years of solitude, persistence, and unwavering faith. Slowly, miraculously, the impossible began to happen. The sandbar was no longer barren. The tiny saplings he had planted as a boy had grown into towering trees. A dense canopy began to form, casting cooling shade where once there was only blistering sun. The land began to breathe again. Today, that desolate, lifeless sandbar is a sprawling forest. It covers over 1,300 acres, an area larger than New York City's Central Park, and it is teeming with life. The birds were the first to return, their songs filling the air that had long been silent. Then came the deer, the wild boar, and monkeys. The forest he built became a sanctuary, a haven for life in a region plagued by habitat loss. The most incredible validation of his work arrived with a thunderous roar. The forest, now lush and vibrant, became a vital corridor for a herd of over 100 elephants that migrate through the area annually. They now stay in his forest for several months each year, and where there are elephants and deer, predators are sure to follow. The forest, which Jadav named Molai after his nickname, is now home to rhinos and even Royal Bengal tigers. All of this entire thriving ecosystem was brought into existence by the hands of one man. For decades, his work went completely unnoticed by the wider world. It wasn't until 2008 that Forest Department officials, tracking a herd of elephants, stumbled upon this vast, uncharted forest. They were stunned. Their maps showed only a sandbar. When they found Jadav, they couldn't believe his story, but the forest itself was the undeniable proof. Jadav Payeng, once the boy who mourned a dying island, is now known as the Forest Man of India. He is a living testament to the profound impact one individual can have. What drove him? It was a simple, powerful idea. He saw suffering and chose compassion. He saw a problem and became the solution. He never sought fame or fortune. He only wanted to give life back to the land. His story teaches us that you don't need to be a large organization or have massive resources to change the world. Sometimes, all it takes is one person, one seed, and the resolve to never, ever give up. Thank you so much for watching. If this story inspired you, please consider sharing it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about incredible people changing our world. See you next time.